the eating disorder takes over that personality and changes the person. So who Julie was is who Julie will become when she overcomes the challenge of an eating disorder.
You don't realize that they have it because they have everything so well hidden. She had everything under control. She was a perfectionist. She was the child who made every sports team. Every teacher liked her, had so many friends, had it all together. Popular. Never did we know that inside she was in turmoil. We didn't know it until physically we saw it.
Eating disorders are very prevalent in America. About 1% of adolescent females develop anorexia nervosa, and up to 5% of adolescent and young adult females develop bulimia nervosa. That's just the people who actually develop a condition that would be diagnosed. There's many, many more individuals who have eating disorders that would not really come to clinical attention.
You know, whatever she would eat, we would try to accommodate her. She went from not eating red meat to just chicken. Okay, that was fine. Then we eliminated red meat for her. Then no chicken. Then it was just some vegetables. And you got into this thing where incrementally it got worse and worse, and you kind of went along with it as far as thinking, okay, well, if today she can eat this, then we'll get that. We'll make that for her. We'll try to do that.
Eating disorders really aren't about food. The treatment of eating disorders initially is about food and eating. But in the end, it's more about individual self-concept and food as symbolic. So eating food is a sign of weakness, and not eating food is a sign of strength. Exercising obsessively is another sign of strength.
We started to notice that there was a problem in her sophomore year. In the spring, she was losing some weight. We talked to her about it. She said it was under control.
She wanted to get her life back in control. I mean, she wanted to get back into her day-to-day life, but it was something at that time that was bigger than her, that was controlling her.
We used to say she was, we used to say she was always fighting Ed. There was this character named Ed that was trying to take her life over, and Ed stood for eating disorder. And that was the person that was always the third person in the room.
When an individual develops an eating disorder, there very much is a sense that she or he has been possessed by the eating disorder. Parents often talk about the issue of, I don't recognize my daughter anymore. You know, I'm not talking to my daughter, I'm talking to an eating disorder.
When summer came and she started to practice for field hockey, we noticed that she wasn't eating. And she'd just gone to the pediatrician and she had lost quite a bit of weight. And they talked to her about it and she said, nope, it's not an issue. But after that, I really watched and I wrote down what she ate, and it wasn't enough.
We went from being very confident parents and really the role models in many ways to a lot of other families and other parents, to feeling kind of beaten up and confused again regarding what to do.
It's a good description. You are being beat up by the disease, and everybody around you and everyone that loves the person tries and tries and tries, and you just keep getting knocked down until that person's willing and ready to do it for themselves.
I think it changed our parenting as far as it turned us much more into policing her, not trusting her, constantly being worried where she was, what she was doing, where she was going.
She didn't eat. She didn't contact her friends. She would come home after practice and would become a cocoon, wouldn't interact with anybody.
We sometimes break it down into either a medical illness or a mental illness, but I really think talking about it as a developmental illness. So it has to do a lot with being an adolescent.
And then she ended up going into the hospital because she still couldn't gain weight. And that's when we realized not only was it that she couldn't gain weight, she didn't want to.
What we find is about 80 to 85% of individuals are basically recovered a minimum of 4 years after treatment. That requires, though, intensive focus on their nutrition, issues around family dynamics, issues for their own personal mental health issues that can be affected by depression, anxiety, etc. But overall, we feel the results are extremely promising.
It was a long, long road, but we were able to call it strong. You know, if it was a week that was bad, sometimes we were on an every 2-week schedule. If things were going bad, we'd go to 3 weeks. I could call up, they would get us in within a matter of a few days.
We always came back. I mean, we had the resources to take her somewhere else, but we realized that this program was wonderful. And it was comfortable.
She was thankful. She was in a better spot. She was in a safe spot. And she wasn't in a safe spot prior to the hospitalization.
She's decided that living the way she's living now is much more important and fun than living the way she did with the illness.
I think it's very important to emphasize, parents do not cause eating disorders, but parents are a very important part in the recovery from eating disorders. Any treatment that looks at families and as a source of the problem or the cause will be definitely ineffective. It tends to be much more important in the family work to have it focus on issues relating to, okay, where are you now and where do you want to be, rather than what brought you here.